The approach we're taking here on my channel to figure stuff out in the One Piece world is drawing parallels with other anime, video games and various franchises in general. I want to drill a simple fact through your head, and that is nothing being new under the sun. And this holds true in the world of anime as well, where you will find themes, concepts, storylines and everything is sort of recycled. It's often as if you're watching the same story told in a different way. We can gain insane insights about One Piece by looking into other franchises. Let's explore what's going on Elbaph Island, what's up with Loki and King Harald, what is the end game, etc. by looking into Dragon Ball and God of War. In my recently published video about the Loki connection with Broly from Dragon Ball, I already went over a lot, but I've gained further important information since. Now, if you haven't watched that, no worries, because I'll sum everything up for you in this video. And if you want all of the details, you can watch that too later. We'll begin by outlining the parallels between One Piece and the aforementioned series to base our working theory upon. So, I discovered One Piece Loki has striking similarities with Broly of both Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. I am specifying that as they are two completely different versions of the character. We are going to call them Z Broly and Super Broly respectively, as we list the things they have in common, both as characters and in regards to their surroundings. 1. Now, as first commonality, I would present Loki being blonde and Z Broly being light-skinned and although black-haired is practically blonde as he is constantly in Super Saiyan mode when unleashed. However, it turns out Loki's hair will be light purple. To me this doesn't suit him, but whatever. The thing is, Z Broly does in fact have a purple-haired form. Z Broly is burdened by a control mechanism he was subjected to by his father. The mechanism prevents him from reaching his legendary Super Saiyan state, but Z Broly manages to partly bypass the control mechanism and turn into Super Saiyan Type A. This form is the result of a legendary Super Saiyan not being able to tap into their true Super Saiyan power due to some kind of suppressant. In Broly's case, it was the control ring placed on his head. Unlike the typical Super Saiyan forms, this state is sometimes represented with purple/pink hair and black eyes while being in dark environments, and blue hair and blue eyes artistically represented as being red colored in certain moments while the user is in a lighter place. I wouldn't discard the possibility Loki's hair also changing color later on when he is freed, as he claims to be a sun god, and we know Luffy's hair is turning white in his own sun god form when he literally becomes the most free. In any case, Loki and Broly do have a common purple-haired state. Number 2. Loki and both versions of Broly belong to warrior cultures, the Giants of Elbaph and Saiyans. Additionally, the Giants of Elbaph are in the process of reforming to a peaceful nation, relishing the old ways, while Saiyans were extinct besides a few survivors whose descendants are also increasingly less war-oriented. 3. Loki's father, King Harald, and Broly's father, Paragus, in both versions look very similar. They both have a mean look, are black-haired, and even though King Harald is bald, he does have similar facial hair. His skin tone has not been established yet in the anime, but he looks very much like Kaido, who has dark skin tone like Broly's father, Paragus. King Harald has a mark crossing his left eye, and Paragus has a scar running across his own left eye. Number 4. As of chapter 1139, Loki is accused of having killed his father, which is not explicitly confirmed, but the accusation is there. Broly killed his own father in Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan movie. Super Broly didn't kill his father, but Frieza did instead, while claiming he died from a stray ki blast, which caused Super Broly to fear that he might have killed him accidentally. 5. They are legendary and have prophecies associated with them. King Harald was prophesied to be slain by his son, Loki, who apparently did kill him and acquired a legendary devil fruit passed down in the royal family in the process. Since he ate said fruit, he has a legendary form that is yet to be seen. I for one have a theory about it and will explain on another video, so stay tuned for that. Broly in both versions is the legendary Super Saiyan, a Saiyan prophesied to appear only once in 1000 years. 6. They are known for enormous power that is to be feared. 7. They are known to rampage and destroy. Loki burned down at least one village and Broly blew up at least one planet, and they both laughed hysterically afterwards. They are both associated with cold environments. We meet Loki in the lower level of Elbaph, named Realm of the Dead, where it is freezing cold. He is currently tied over there on a tree, but he lurked there anyway as a child. In Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, we meet Broly on the cold planet New Planet Vegeta. In Broly Second Coming, Broly is trapped in a layer of ice at the start of the movie. In Dragon Ball Super Broly, Goku and Vegeta meet and fight Broly in the Arctic. 9. Loki both killed and befriended various dangerous wild beasts at Elbaph's Realm of the Dead as a kid. Super Broly did likewise on planetoid Vampa where he grew up. Broly doesn't have any association with wild beasts. Number 10. We meet Loki tied with chains made of sea stone, which restricts his movement and robs him of his strength, making him a husk of what he really is. Broly is wearing a control mechanism that his father implemented to subdue him when he gets fired up, and by doing so keeps him from causing trouble, having him essentially imprisoned. Super Broly also has a mechanism, but it is a choke collar that his father implemented for the same purpose. 11. Loki is the son of a king, a prince. While Broly's father wasn't a king, he was a high-ranking Saiyan, talking directly with King Vegeta, the king of Saiyans. Broly, having a huge power level from baby, was deemed a threat by King Vegeta. In Dragon Ball Super, Paragus accused King Vegeta of sending Broly to a desolate planet for being jealous because his own son, Prince Vegeta, was weaker than Broly. So there is this dynamic where Broly would actually be the proper Prince of Saiyans. Broly's appearance is also fitting that of a prince, and he lives in a palace in New Planet Vegeta. 12. Loki is persuaded by a pair of male and female God's Knights to join their ranks because one of their members was upgraded to a Gorosei when their lord Imu killed one of the Gorosei. Super Broly was persuaded to join Frieza's forces by a male and female pair, with the female being short-haired like Gunko. 13. You can take this or leave it, but Loki's eyes being covered with bandages and Broly's eyes turning all white as he rampages might be connected. It could symbolize how these dudes are essentially blind as they rampage and destroy everything in their way. So now that we outlined Loki and Broly's similarities, I think it's well established how Oda drew inspiration from Broly. Therefore, let's draw some parallels with One Piece, beginning with the movie Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan. The giants are Saiyans. Elbaph is Planet Vegeta. Imu is Frieza, with his forces being God's Knights, the Gorosei, etc. Frieza rules over the Saiyans and eventually destroys them by destroying their whole planet, Planet Vegeta. Those events have yet to happen in the One Piece continuity, but we're seeing Imu's God's Knights now making moves to take over Elbaph, so we are in the process. Saiyans have a king, King Vegeta. However, Broly's father, Paragus, is not him, while Loki's father is the King of Giants, King Harald. What to make of this? Well, two possibilities. Either King Harald represents both Paragus and King Vegeta combined, or there is a hidden king that we have yet to learn about who rules over King Harald. Both these options are viable. Here is how. In the case of King Harald representing both Paragus and King Vegeta, I would also throw in representing Bardock, the father of Goku, and assume Kaido is indeed King Harald's son and represents Vegeta. That way we have King Harald representing the three most important Saiyan fathers ever, and his three sons representing the three most important Saiyan warriors ever. Loki is Broly, Kaido is Vegeta, Hirudin is Goku. Hirudin is fitting as Goku's equivalent since he was the weakest to begin with. Kaido is also fitting as Vegeta's equivalent since he believed he was Joy Boy, much like Vegeta believed he was the Supreme Saiyan, only to be bested by the true Joy Boy, Luffy, who is also the true Goku equivalent, with Goku being Vegeta's nemesis. This might be getting confusing, with Goku representing both Luffy and Hirudin, but you gotta realize the parallels are not one-to-one, and one character may represent different characters in different points in time or from different points of view. Lastly, Loki being the Broly equivalent is already established. Now, the second possibility of a hidden king ruling over King Harald does not require to necessarily assume Kaido being Harald's son, so that goes out the window. We've already met Loki, whose origin is the Norse pantheon as well as other Norse-themed mythological beasts and references, but we haven't met other Norse gods yet. We have been to the realm of the dead, where Loki is imprisoned, and to the Sun realm, where King Harald's castle is. But little do we know about the Heaven realm. What if the Heaven realm is where the secret lords of Elbaph, Odin, Thor and possibly other gods reside? To answer this, let's dive in the God of War franchise, which also ties in and was likely an inspiration for Oda when it came to the Elbaph arc. You see, I recently read a comment from a person stating, "Are we going to talk about how King Harald is Kratos?" And it dawned on me, although I'm not a fan of this particular video game, that he has a point, as King Harald does resemble Kratos to a high degree. They are both bald, with facial hair, and again we see a mark crossing the left eye of Kratos. So I visited the God of War wiki to look up the story and was surprised to read the following about Kratos, eventually leaving Greece as well as his bloody past behind. So it turns out Kratos decides to leave his violent past behind, and King Harald comes to mind, who pretty much had the same ideal supposedly. Kratos ends up in ancient Egypt and makes his way into Midgard. This is where God of War from Greco-Roman based blends in Norse mythology. Having come to view his troubled past with great shame, Kratos has taken the initiative to mature and grow past his self-destructive tendencies, choosing to live as a man under the Norse pantheon. He even finds love again with a woman named Faye, eventually fathering a son with her named Atreus. This is where things get interesting, as I will already reveal to you that the son of Kratos, Atreus, is later gaining the name Loki. So we can safely establish Oda taking inspiration from here, or the two franchises being inspired by a third one at least, besides Norse mythology itself. When Faye dies of unknown circumstances, Kratos and Atreus set out on a journey to spread her ashes from the highest peak in all the 9 realms, as it was her final wish. So notice how Atreus' mother dies shortly after giving birth to him, much like Loki's mother in One Piece. However, the two come into conflict with various Nordic creatures along their way and are constantly pursued by a mysterious stranger, seemingly under orders from the king of the Norse pantheon himself, Odin. As Ragnarok unfolds, and Ragnarok unfolding is where we're at in the One Piece continuity as well, Kratos and Atreus were confronted by Odin and Thor. While embarking on a perilous journey across the 9 realms, in a desperate attempt to stop Ragnarok, they joined Freya's forces, but despite their efforts, it could not be prevented. Uniting allies from across the realms, they waged war against Asgard, with Kratos facing Thor once more and ultimately defeating Odin. As Asgard fell, the trio returned to Midgard, where Atreus, now Loki, set out to seek any remaining giants, bidding a heartfelt farewell to his father. Meanwhile, Kratos and Freya, alongside Mimir, began the monumental task of rebuilding and restoring the 9 realms, while also finally accepting his past while traveling in Valhalla. He decides to join Freya's Council of Gods and reclaim the throne of the God of War once again. We could dive a lot deeper into all of that, but what I wanted to focus on is establishing the connection with One Piece and God of War Ragnarok, and by doing so speculate that much like in God of War Ragnarok, where Kratos and Atreus faced Thor and Odin, King Harald and Loki also faced the same Norse gods. Only in One Piece, King Harald, the Kratos equivalent, fell, and Loki is the one who should finish the job, along with the Straw Hat's assistants, who will be glad to help as they realize that giants are actually enslaved to these gods. Let's read some more about Atreus, the Loki of God of War Ragnarok. Atreus is the son of Kratos and Laufey the Just. He was Kratos' second child after Calliope. At Faye's request, Kratos did not raise Atreus and instead spent most of his time either hunting or training to control his rage. This meant that Kratos rarely ever interacted with Atreus during his early developing years, and whenever he did speak to Atreus, he was often blunt and distant, leading to Atreus believing that Kratos didn't care for him, as well as knowing nothing about Kratos' past. Kratos hardly addresses his son by name, mainly referring to him as boy. All of that might as well ring true about Loki in One Piece. In fact, we have reasons to believe him being neglected is the case, as we know he spent his time with wild animals at the realm of the dead as a kid, and Broly, his Dragon Ball equivalent, is stated to lack proper training, which would help him control his power. Once Faye died, he decided to raise Atreus by himself, focusing on teaching him survival skills and preparing him for their journey to spread Faye's ashes. The thing about spreading his mother's ashes is interesting. Could Loki have set out the sea when he supposedly killed King Harald for a similar reason perhaps, given that his own mother died also? Kratos was often harsh with his words, rarely showing affection. Deep down, however, Kratos loved and cared for Atreus, his strictness coming from his resentment of his own violent past and wanting to protect Atreus. Kratos feared that without discipline, or if Atreus learned about his past, he would grow up to become a cruel, violent god, no better than the man he once was in Greece. So we know Loki did actually turn violent, no matter what King Harald tried to instill in him. At this point I am 50-50 about turning the page to a more peaceful Elbaph being a positive change based on ideals, or a negative, forced change influenced by the gods or the world government itself, but I slightly lean towards it being forced and would like to see Loki proving to be the pride of Elbaph, who embodies the traditional war culture as opposed to the shame of Elbaph as he was falsely labeled. There sure are a lot more to discuss, but we'll leave it at that for now and continue in the next video regarding Loki's devil fruit, which relates to all of that. Stay tuned and take care of yourself so that you don't miss it.